We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Our esteemed guest is Mr. Todd Richards. Todd, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Ed. I like your wall.
Yes, this is, we built this the other day. We had this big, all the employees of this show build it because we have such a big
Budget,
behind the scenes budget. It's huge. So yeah, they did a good job on it though, I must say.
I like it.
But I actually did cut my finger pretty bad when I was watching them do it. So the beautiful thing about this is that we are live. So if you haven't watched this before, you can comment in your questions at any time, and we'll see them live coming up in the feed. And we can ask Todd the question. He can answer them. You can give shout outs, ask him about his snowboard career, anything you want. First, let's get started. We always kind of get started with a little bit of a background. Where are you from? You know, how you got into riding, things like that.
I grew up in a town called Paxton, right outside of Worcester, Massachusetts. I started riding in and around there on like golf courses, basically, and then we're talking back before high backs. So
yeah,
and then I kind of was into snowboarding a little bit, but I was more snowboarding was just something I did in the winter when I wasn't skating.
Yep.
And then I went to school in New Hampshire, and that's kind of when snowboarding took off for me. I was riding at Gunstock and Loon and Waterville all the time.
And I mean, I don't know if you want to give this away, but like, what year was that?
I started snowboarding in the second half of my freshman year in high school, so like 1984.
Okay.
So 98% of the audience probably wasn't born yet.
So 1984 is when you started. So that really was in the beginning.
Second generation.
Right.
Because the first generation, I was going to school.
Yeah.
Sort of, in quotation marks. I was basically, had a free ride to go to this, vocational technical graphics design school in New Hampshire. And I was just snowboarding.
Right.
It was pretty much like a paid vacation from my parents. And then when the New England Cup Series was kind of going on at that point, and my dad was always in the mountains, and he played hockey and he skied, and so he was just stoked I was doing something.
Yeah.
But then, that's when Brushy kind of went. Like Craig and Burton took Brushy under their wing, and it just blew Brush up. So we saw what was possible from one of our own.
Right.
And I think even kind of along the lines of my parents kind of saw it too. They were always super supportive, super supportive. And, it was still kind of a weird thing, and to be a parent and just be like, okay, well, if you're making $500 a month, to me, I was like, screw it, $500 a month, I can live like a champ. We are in the 80s at this point, so it was worth a lot more, but
yeah,
it was like, we were making money. I was making the same amount of money I would be if I was washing dishes, so right. I was hyped.
Yeah, okay. And then that all just kind of escalated into...
Yeah, I moved to Colorado. I was actually on the way to Southern California, and we stopped in Boulder. And this was my second, after I had started kind of competing a little bit.
Yeah.
I was sponsored by Sims at that point. We were kind of bouncing around, and I was on my way out to Southern California for something. I think it was just to move out here, or hang out out here, or maybe even go to Tahoe. I forget what the deal was, but I just kind of planted roots in Boulder and stayed there, and then just rode in Colorado for about 20 years.
And were you in the first half-pipe event in the Olympics?
Yeah, 1998 was the first Olympic team.
Mm-hmm. Okay, first Olympic team. Mm-hmm. Did you go on to the one that was 4 years later, or no?
No, I tried to qualify, but I was at that point, I think I was way more into riding slopestyle.
Yep.
I think it was 2002 was when the Salt Lake City one was. I was going through the motions of qualifying.
Right.
But I was way more into being in the park. I didn't. It was just kind of I'll just, I'll try to qualify. But
if it happens, it happens.
I didn't care until after I didn't qualify, and then I was like,
right, yeah, dang it, why didn't I qualify? Yeah, because you did big airs, and it's funny because I kind of think of you a lot as a pipe rider, but you probably did way more slope and big air contests as well, right?
Yeah, it was just my goal. I was a pipe guy because that's what we had.
Right.
Breckenridge had that, and this is I skated vert every chance I got, and riding a snowboard half pipe was just a way to pretend I was better than I was.
Right.
And then it was just so many years of doing that, and then Breck had a really good park, and then I remember competing. The first slopestyle I ever did was at X Games in Crested Butte, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
And I had a blast, and it was just so different. It was just like I was riding. It wasn't like I was like in the starting gate and like, oh, you know, you blow your first hit and you're screwed.
Right.
So after that, I was like, okay, I really want to do good in this.
Yeah.
And just, you know, I was riding for Blend at that point, and Special Blend was like really all about, you know, the dudes hitting jumps, and I just ended up doing that a lot more.
Yep.
And then I just put my nose to the grindstone, and I wanted to, you know, top 5 in a slopestyle, and that was in like 2000 when I really started to push that, and like that's how it kind of started.
Awesome. Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure we had competed against each other in some
Lots of
styles.
times.
Yeah. So if you're just tuning in, we are live on Eddie's wall here at Trans World Snowboarding in Carlsbad, California. Our guest, Todd Richards, snowboarding legend, icon, if you will. Been around for a very long time, very successful career. Again, the best part about this live feed is that you guys can comment, and I am seeing your comments right here. So comment in questions, any questions you want for Todd, and we will have them answered live right here. And let's take a couple questions.
I'll literally answer any question you ask me.
All right. Oh, there we go. That's a good challenge. We have Ansis Egel. P3 is one of my favorite books. So
Sweet.
Shout out to Todd.
We were just kind of talking about, Eddie and I were talking about this thing where I really want to take P3 and I want to read it. Like, and maybe, I don't know if I'll put it on YouTube or have it be done somewhere, but I want to actually just read the book and then like kind of go in depth with some of like the experiences and like, I don't know, just, I've been throwing it around because that book just sits on the shelf. And
Yeah.
I kind of always wanted to do it.
That'd be a good way to
So
kind of
maybe,
revamp it.
maybe that'll have something.
Yeah.
Something later.
So Ansis, you might have that to look forward to. Actually, doesn't that book start out with you shitting your pants?
No, I'm born. I shit my pants a little bit later on.
Okay.
But, yeah. We can talk about that. You want to talk about me shitting my pants?
Yeah, it was like during a U.S. Open run or something.
No, it was a Body Glove used to sponsor snowboard events. Literally everyone would sponsor snowboard events back in the day. And it was at A Basin in Colorado, and I was from the East Coast. It was like third time I'd ever been anywhere snowboarding before, and it was springtime, probably May in A Basin, and I was like, oh my God, this place is great when the sun's out. Oh, and sunscreen was just like a fictional thing that people put on back. Like,
Yeah, on the East Coast.
No one puts on sunscreen. My dad used to put baby oil on me so I get a little color when I go out snowboarding.
Yes.
So I didn't put any sunscreen on at almost 11,000 feet. No, not a cloud in the sky. Myself, Trevor Graves, and Chris Swires got so sunburned, like, to the point, you know when you like your eyes are like swollen shut and your lips, so bad sun poisoning. So the next day it was the contest. Like we were just riding around like no sunscreen, like, you know, sun's out, guns out. And then the next day at the contest, like I pulled my shit together. Hadn't had a sip of water in like 4 days either. Sitting in the starting gate, and the camera guy like comes over to do like your dropping in next, because there wasn't really a lot of televised events back in the day.
Right.
So the dude comes over. And he's like interviewing me, and I had the shits like because of sun poisoning. Like I just had the shits, and I'm in the gate, and I just, you know, like seriously, as soon as they were like go, and I thought I was just gonna have a little, you know, a little barn door squeaker, and it wasn't. It was a shotgun blast of mud in my underwear, and I took my run. And
load in your pants.
Yeah, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. Oh
like,
my God.
Pardon me. So I took my run, and then they stop you at the bottom to do like the post-run interview, and I fucking just ollied the fence and just went straight. And I wiped my butt with my underwear, and then went back out for my second run. So kids, drink water, use sunscreen.
There we go. That's the
go.
moral of the story. That's amazing. Let's do a couple more questions here, quick ones. Eric James Martin, Flaming Hot Cheetos or regular?
Ooh, Flaming Hot Cheetos, Sting Ring. That's all I gotta say about
Sting
that
Ring.
one. They
Speaking
always
of
seem like a
blow-up.
super good idea when you're in like the first half an hour of a road trip, and then by like hour 2, you're like, oh my God, I need like one of those Tux medicated pens.
Yeah.
Put the fire out.
Keenan Calvin, would you ever film another video part?
I have been throwing that around with the guys, the drink water dudes.
Cool.
You know, Fox has been trying to get me to do that for a while. I'd like to do it, and I'd like to film it with Pierre Wickberg.
Yep.
Because he can literally make anything look really fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm super ADD. I've got a million things going on, so
Yeah.
it would like, you know, I'd have to nail myself down to do it. But
Right.
I'd be stoked to, yeah.
Keith Paul, what's your favorite new board company out on the market right now? That's a good one.
Ooh, favorite board company.
Do you ride one board right
I
now?
do.
Or do you have a couple of different brands?
The Yes guys have hooked me up.
Okay.
I had a model on there, like one of those Legends models a year ago. Last year, it was in the stores this past year. Mm-hmm. Those guys are awesome. All the boys at Yes, super stoked. One of the companies that I'm really stoked on, I'm really into the Shark Surf powder surfers and the Osmo boards. Like that's riding those at Baldface it's a completely 180 from what I ever, hadn't experienced it really until this year, and like that's what I'm stoked on. I'm really stoked on that aspect of just the power surfing thing is really cool, man. It's really cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. Simon Presley, Force Awakens verdict.
Awesome.
What is Force Awakened?
Well, you out of your mind? Where have you been the past year?
What is it, like a TV show?
Star Wars. The new Star Wars movie.
Oh, wait, is that where you were last night? Where was that photo you took of you with the Star Wars dude?
What are you talking about? Oh, no, that was at the premiere of Force Awakens. Yeah. Eddie's a little behind the times. It's okay. Yes, Force Awakens, I loved it. I'm such a Star Wars nerd. I've actually been really fortunate to work with Nixon on all their Star Wars watches. Yeah. So we've been privy to a whole bunch of information on the new, like, not only the next chapter, but also the one that's coming out in the fall here. I mean, not the fall, but I guess in December. Okay. So there's some secrets. It is going to be rad. The stuff that's coming down the line from Lucasfilm is so sick.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy Star Wars, but I'm not a crazy freak.
I was raised by George Lucas.
Okay, all right.
I was a full latchkey kid who was basically raised by the teachings of George Lucas in the first 3 movies.
Funny story, my sister used to work on Lake Tahoe, and their boss came in one day and said, "Who here knows who George Lucas is?" And every single person went like this, and my sister just like looked around like, I have no idea. And they're like, Curry, come to our office. And they're like, this guy named George needs his kids babysat for the day out on this yacht on Tahoe. Can you do it? And she was like, and you get however much money. And she was like, yeah, sure. And they're like, but everybody, they picked the person who didn't know who he was.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It'd be pretty funny to be like, you do get in that. So she watched his kids like the whole day on Lake Tahoe. And,
perfect.
But it would have been funny if you just lied and then you're in there with the kids like, so have you been on that movie set?
This is a crazy story. This like Star Wars related baloney. Back at High Cascade when I was there every summer as like a mascot / working as a coach. Yeah. Harrison Ford came and dropped his son Malcolm off at camp one summer, and I remember it was kind of gnarly. Like the hubbub was the undercurrent tone was like, hey, Harrison Ford's coming to drop his kid off. Right. And no one really believed it. And then the dude shows up. Yeah. And we're all just kind of like standing around this dude. Like not only was he Han Solo, but he's also Indiana Jones. Yeah. Jack Ryan. You know, like he was all these iconic characters. And I almost had a nervous breakdown. That's pretty awesome. It's be hard for me to be around George Lucas's kids. Yeah. I mean, not in the sense of like I shouldn't be around kids, but George Lucas's kids.
Let's see, John Torres. Where would you go to film if you did do a part?
Ooh, good question. I love riding in Japan. I love riding Mount Bachelor. I love riding Breckenridge. I just wherever. Yeah. You know.
Cool. Mike Rice. How long did you rollerblade for?
I'm still currently pretty savagely pursuing rollerblading, but I only run one rollerblade and one soap shoe because I don't want to give up the grind. I want to be able to slide.
That's a good point. Dude, you know what's funny about soap shoes is I wanted a pair of soap shoes super bad when I was younger, and luckily my parents weren't able to buy me a pair. And I'm like, I got out of so much stuff because my parents couldn't buy me stuff.
Any shoe is a pair of soap shoes if you get some kitchen grease and put it on the bottom of your shoes.
True, but I mean, the soap shoe had the token actual inlet. Like
they call that the cheater bar.
Right, yeah. So let's see. Any Audis currently in your garage? Jesse Sanderson.
Jesse, we have a Q7 TDI, and I have a TTRS kind of race car that I'm building still.
All right.
So that's that.
So, yes. Let's see. Jay Naylor. Thoughts on your trip to northern Japan in February of 1996? It was good to see you.
Hey, Jay, I don't remember you because that was eons ago.
30 years ago.
But anytime that I would go to Japan, best times ever. My daughter and I were looking at my old passports the other day, and probably out of any country that I've visited, Japan is like 80% of the stamps in that one particular passport that I was looking at, and it's just the most fun place ever to go. It's just so different. And back in the beginning, it was the Japanese riders, the people at the skiers, they wouldn't go off piste. They wouldn't go in the woods. I mean, it's different now though because there's it's just different. Right. But back then it was like there'd be 3,000 people riding a strip of snow that was moguled and just a nightmare. And then literally off to the side of the run would be a straight shaved wall of 4 feet of pow. Yeah. And you'd be like, what? And you'd go over there and no one would even say anything. Like, there'd be like monkeys in the trees and it'd be like magic. And I mean, we probably almost died like 300 times because avalanches didn't happen back in the 90s. But it was magical. And I still love that place. I love going to Tokyo. It's one of my favorite places on the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Keaton McCollum, why did you stop doing your YouTube show?
Funding and a whole bunch of other stuff got in the way. Yeah.
And those take a lot of...
The short answer,
it's a lot of effort.
It does. I mean, even this show that you're doing right now, it's like, it seems like it's not that much, like 2 dudes on a couch talking shit, but
Two dudes,
takes,
1 couch.
It takes a lot to kind of like set it up, and Awesome on Ally was amazing. Yeah. But the reason that it was so amazing, it wasn't me talking shit in my garage. It was the guys from Transition that were editing it, and that was the amazing part. Right. It cost a lot of money. Yep. And plus, at that point, YouTube itself had taken a lot of money and just thrown it at action sports. Yeah. And I just had a big catcher's mitt in the beginning. I just happened to be one of the dudes that got hit in the face with like a budget. Right. So maybe do some more YouTube stuff. The Facebook Live is really, really cool. I dig this because it doesn't,
there's no editing.
It's no editing. It's more like, here I am, better or worse.
All right. Pirinkov Colin. For how long have you been snowboarding?
Let's see. I started snowboarding in 1984, and it is now 2016. So, Ed.
42 years?
No.
36 years.
42 years.
36 years.
Public education, kids.
Yeah.
A long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Is that 36 years, though? No. 37? Oh, I don't know.
And yes, I love it as much as I did back in the beginning, but it's different now. The things I like about it more these days are, quite recently, I finally got my daughter up on the hill snowboarding. Yep. And just snowboarding with my kids. Yeah. That's my favorite thing to do, just putting around the hill and doing it like I did it back in the day. Yeah. The parks are there. They're always going to be there. My desire to hit a 150-foot tabletop in Breck's main line, not as hot as it used to be, but, I love just cruising and just, I don't know. I still have the same fun as I used to. It's just, different.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Eddie's Wall live here at Transworld Snowboarding in Carlsbad, California. Our guest star today is Todd Richards, and we are taking any of your questions. So we'll take them live. Comment, ask questions. Like Jared Kleinberg, Out Cold Part 2? Question mark?
Oh man, how rad would that be? There's, it's funny because all those dudes from Out Cold have like pretty much gone on to be gnarly, right?
Big time.
Like there's, Thomas Lennon, he was Officer Dangle on Reno 911, and obviously Zach Galifianakis is Zach Galifianakis. And,
he's the one who got his stuck in the...
Yeah. Put it in the hot tub.
In the hot tub.
And then...
thought of that every time I've been in a hot tub from there on out.
Thomas... what's his name? Kuckner? Whatever that guy's name is, who was champ in Anchorman.
Oh, yeah.
So there's just a lot of dudes that have gone on from that. It's really cool. I still can't believe. Yeah. We were driving to Baldface last year, and you drive past Salmo, which is where I was posted up for like a month filming Out Cold, which is really... It's funny, and you drive by that town, and like we filmed there for so long. I was like, oh my god. Yeah. It just doesn't... It was so long ago.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Zach Vivet, when was your first big snowboard injury?
I've had a couple like minor ones, but this little gem right here,
Yeah, that's not
I shattered my humerus where it goes into the elbow, and that was in 2003, December 17th, 2003 at Park City. And I just landed on my arm and exploded, blew my arm up completely. Like this was a full jigsaw puzzle. So I've got 2 plates, 6 screws, and a rod going this way still to this day in my arm. It's
no arthritis.
I don't have any feeling in my thumb.
Yeah.
Still, but I don't. It's not like it doesn't work. And yeah, I just happened to have a really good surgeon that put me back together again. Because there's a picture of it on the back of my book P3.
Yeah.
It's a picture of the X-ray.
Right.
And I look at that and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Gnarly. I got really lucky.
All right. That was a good question. Daniel Poppers. Hey, Dan, if this is the same Daniel Poppers. Todd, you responded to a photo submission of mine tomorrow almost 20 years ago. One of the highlights of my youth. That was really cool. Thanks. So now that you are both older, wiser, and successful, how do you go about not blowing what you've worked so hard to earn?
As in money?
I'm not sure.
I'll just address that from a couple of different things. First of all, my biggest advice to all you kids out there and young up-and-coming dudes who are making money in snowboarding, put money away.
Don't
For God's sake, just put money away, because your adult life is going to hit you a lot faster than you think it will. And your giant reckless spending is going to smash you right in the teeth. So just put some money away, because you'll be way happier later on. And how do you not blow it? You just stay true to who you are, and maybe you'll be whack one week, but it'll come around.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just who you are, you're just consistent with yourself, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Good question, Dan. Mike Schmidt, where's your favorite place to ride in Utah?
Favorite place in Utah? Powder Mountain.
Yep. Or the DC Mountain Line.
Oh yeah.
R.I.P.
The defunct. 40.
Joe Heffernan, have you been getting waves? What chemistry are you riding?
Woo! Yes, I have been
Todd's
getting
a
waves.
huge surfer,
I'm
by the way.
super surf turkey.
Yes.
Yes, I've been getting a lot of waves. Well, past couple days. It was a little windy this morning. We've had like weird south winds here in Southern California. They've been plaguing us. Favorite chemistry currently, Flashpoint. Those guys, Jason Bennett and Willie over there at Chemistry, have been setting me up for years, and love those dudes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of on the surf tip, which to me relates to being healthy, kind of, because surfing is kind of healthy. I remember an interview where you said, I'd rather shoot myself in a foot than eat a banana.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I don't like bananas.
Just bananas or all fruit?
No, raisins too. Actually, I really like artificial fruit flavoring, but I'm not really down with fruit.
You're like,
I'll eat the shit out of a vegetable, though. Any vegetable you throw at me, no problem.
Okay,
but
so you like vegetables.
Fruits, I don't know what it is. Just bananas are gnarly. Like, you could, like, back me off a cliff with a banana. Like, straight off.
Oh, man. I was so close to picking up, like, a big-ass bundle
There's
of bananas.
nothing worse. Okay,
like,
look.
Well, here's
I
your
can sit with a banana.
Right.
I can have a banana exist in front of me.
Right.
You know what I can't stand? Is when someone's eating a banana and they're talking to you.
Oh, and it's like...
Oh, my God, dude. This is the worst.
All right,
This
cool.
is the worst.
Note to self, I'm glad I wasn't eating a banana. Let's see. Tom Harridan, Eddie's Wall associate for season 1. Todd, who is your favorite crew of up-and-coming snowboarders?
Favorite crew up and coming? I have a real soft spot for the Yaguns. And
Same here.
mainly because, I think what Dylan and those guys are doing is amazing. I think the whole, just creative carving stuff is cool. But the fact that I know where they are coming from, and Yagu Valley is tiny.
Yeah.
Wachusett, where I grew up riding, is tiny. Yagu is tinier.
Right.
So the fact that these guys are putting out the content that everyone looks forward to seeing from this tiny little hill and just fighting the fight, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I
love
agree.
it.
It's like making lemonade out of lemons, but in an amazing way. And
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a good answer.
Those dudes are cool.
Let's see, Porter Brown, what snowboard are you riding now? I pretty much said you like riding Yes boards.
I'm riding the Yes 420 Powder Hull was what I ended up riding a lot this year, because I got a chance to go to Ballface a few times. But it's like that board and the Jackpot are the two boards that I ride primarily from Yes.
Okay. Garrett Joseph, top 3 favorite video parts. That's probably a tough one off the top of your head.
No, it's actually not. Number 1 is Chris Roach in the Western Front, which is one of the first videos that actually changed what I thought snowboarding was all about for me. So if you have a chance, it's on YouTube. You can find it. The Western Front videos on there. Chris's riding, it's still to this day. It's not as technical, but the style is there, and you watch that, and that's what everyone is trying to emulate to this day.
Okay.
Number 2, I would say, would probably be Terrier's part in. It's the one. Is it? I can't remember. It's not Subject Hawkinson. I think it was in. Shit. What movie was that? It's one of the Barbarian Brother movies. What was it? One of the Hatch Dogs movies. TB3. It's the one where he's riding the sword board.
The sword board.
And he does like a switch backside 360 shifty off of that. And he does a backside 5 off that. That was one of my favorite parts. And then I think my favorite part of all time. Maybe this is tough. It's probably Peter's part.
Okay.
Peter Line. Yeah. And technical difficulties.
There we go.
That part's really good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just the fact that it was the backside rodeo was just so weird back then, and you know, it's such a staple trick from everyone now. But when it came about then, and he was just like the dude who was doing the weirdest and coolest shit. Yeah.
Ross Gem, do you stay in touch with Travis Parker? It was so fun watching you guys ride together in the Mountain Lab videos.
You know, that's another. I just add another one to the favorite video parts of all time. I mean, Travis's parts in all of After Lame and After Bang and blah 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 and Lame. Those parts, and getting a chance to see Travis, and fortunately riding with Travis a whole bunch for about 3 years. Those are like highlights of my career. I don't get to see Travis, but it's like when I do see him, it's as if no time has passed.
Yep.
I love riding with that guy. He's the ultimate, like, it could be, snowing sideways with 300-mile-an-hour winds and it's bulletproof ice, but you will go out with him and you'll have a blast.
Cool.
So I miss riding with that guy.
If you had to choose one female snowboarder to be a guide at Baldface, who would it be? Keith Paul.
Is this like some loaded Robin question? One female snowboarder to be a guide up there? Well, Robin, because she's training to be a guide at Baldface.
Perfect. Yeah.
Duh.
Let's see. What 3 riders do you pick as your dream chair crew? That's pretty cool. Zack Barnes. Like if you're going up on a quad lift and you have 3 snowboarders sitting next to you, who would those 3 be?
Oof, God.
Because there's a lot of ways to look at that. It could be like guys that'd be fun to ride with, or just like guys to have a good conversation with.
I'm down for just the entertainment factor. Probably Travis Parker, because he's always going to say some weird shit. Roach, just because I still fan out on him. Terry Kidwell. And J2.
J2. All right, solid answer. Holden Barth. Todd has one of the funniest Twitters. I remember you doing a tutorial video where someone said safety is no accident, and you fall and throw like a dozen pair of goggles. What movie was that?
Oh, that was a trick tip video that I did. I think it was Todd's Trick Tips Volume 1 or something like that. Right. It was I think it was actually like we were demonstrating what not to do when snowboarding in a park, and I don't know. It's like, don't stand on the knuckle because this could happen. Yeah. I think Billy Anderson actually came up short on purpose just for the video.
Really?
So, thanks, Bill.
That's awesome. That is something that takes some balls.
It does.
Travis Boss, how are your knees?
My knees are solid. My knees are sweet. I never really ever had a problem with my knees. My lower back sometimes gets really sore. Knock on Eddie's.
Knock on this concrete wall. I don't know why I knocked on brick, but
if it's everything else, dude.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. What's up with Mountain Lab 3, Garrett Joseph?
Well, first of all, we'd have to convince Ken to. Actually, you know what? Mountain Lab hasn't sold yet. It's still sitting there.
Wasn't like Reese Witherspoon looking at it or something? I heard some famous.
Maybe.
Yeah, I heard she looked at it.
Reese Witherspoon was in talks to buy the Mountain Lab. I don't think she was going to let us film Mountain Lab 3 there, but
yeah.
I've gone up there a couple times since it's shut. I mean, everything is still there.
Yeah.
I talked to Ken about it, often.
Yeah.
About like what's up with the Mountain Lab,
Yeah.
and it's still for sale.
Yeah.
And so if you want to go to Park City and buy it,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, if you have just some spare change laying around.
Who knows? Maybe you just developed a new app, and you just suddenly have gazillions of dollars. You just go buy the Mountain Lab.
Shane Phillips, did you drop out of high school or school?
Hell no.
How did you board?
I got kicked out. No. I finished high school. I went for 2 years at a technical graphic design college. Everything that I learned at that graphic design college was replaced with 2 keystrokes in Illustrator. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for paying for that education. No, I went to college, but it was like the whole snowboard thing took off while I was there, and then I got my education in design outside of school. But I highly suggest you finish high school because.
Otherwise, yeah, you would just end up with your very own talk show. I'm just kidding. No, I finished high school too.
Just kidding.
I finished high school. After high school, I hit my head a lot, so that might make up for some of this. Peter Fallon, what are some of your favorite snowboarding videos or videos that you think everyone should own in a collection?
Wow.
Maybe you just do
snowboarding
like 3
videos.
or 4, yeah.
Man, I'm a fan of the classics, but I think that you should get the Mountain Lab videos are pretty rad. Not just because Eddie and I are in them, but because it kind of shows a side of snowboarding that it kind of ushered in this whole, it's okay to have fun and just kind of cruise around and do whatevs.
Yeah.
All the lame after bang,
yep.
That stuff too. What other videos? Jeremy Jones's his movies.
Oh, the higher, further, deeper, harder.
Yeah. Just...
When you say them all together, it's maybe not the best trilogy. But
right, and when they're on your shelf and someone comes over and it says higher, deeper...
It's like deeper, harder, further, stronger.
Those. And then Travis's movies. I don't know. It's like, you can never have too many DVDs until you do.
Perfect. Let's see. Do you miss riding the ice at Gunstock? Jason Spinney.
Spinowitz. I don't, but I do. You know what I mean? Like, I miss when I go home back east and I go back to like the smaller ski areas. As long as it's kind of sunny and slushy out, I love riding back east. I don't really miss that whole, okay, my toe edge is solid. I'm doing a toe side carve, and then all of a sudden it just bam, like it just rips out from under you, and you no hands down, full face stinger. I don't miss that at all. Or like the weird bubbling blue springs that for no reason in the middle of a trail.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, fossilized human. And you just go, oh my God, is that the blue man in ice in there? I don't miss that at all.
Let's see. Stephen Creed Bayless. How would any younger ripper that is more just solid rider progress themselves in the industry without hucking the gymnastic moves of today? I mean, essentially that's what the Yaguns are doing.
Yeah, you just carve your own path.
Just
it's
no pun intended.
Yeah. There's niches for everybody at this point. You know, I think that the whole wearing your snowboard pants above your boots niche is kind of played out, so don't try to go that way. But there's all kinds of different stuff, and just find ways to ride your mountain. Like you said, the Yaguns guys did that. They took what they did and they went with it. I think there's a lot of backlash against the crazy gymnastics now, and I don't mean it in a sense of like people are angry at it, but I think people are trying to push the style aspect again because it's just gone so haywire in this direction where you see a method get the biggest applause at a bigger event where people are doing quad corks.
Right.
You know, and that says something. So just go out there and hone the basics, get them really solid, make everything look really good, and then don't worry about coming up because you're already on the come up.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, on kind of the same topic as the gymnastics things, I mean, I wanted to get your view. A few people have asked, like, what are you up to now? One of the main things you're doing is commentating, announcing, doing a lot of live TV broadcasting. And so you're familiar with these big contests and everything. And I've been working a bit with the Aaron Style guys on some things, and I mean, what are your thoughts on the next Olympics that's going to have big air as as a discipline? Slopestyle, even though they are kind of just still doing like a double to a triple, but with big air, it's one jump, one try, and it will top three. It's either going to be 3 triples or 3 quads, or like a quad and 2 triples or something. But do you think that is good or bad, or is it just kind of what it is and we go along with it?
You can't get in the way of progression no matter, and you don't want to get left behind in your thinking. I mean, I think the older, as we get older, we still pine for the nostalgia that is the clean backside 5.
Right.
And it'll never go away. And I think a lot of people, that's one of the first tricks you learn. It's one of the first tricks you make look good. So, of course, everyone's going to have an attachment to like that or the method or just doing frontside 360 good.
Right.
The fact that, Yuki Kodono is doing switch triple backside 16s.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't even, like, I do this for a living and I sit there and I have to watch so carefully. Yeah. Like, it comes with it that you actually, like, your brain just kind of comprehends what's going on in the air and a number comes up because it's math. I'm doing math in the booth. Right. And it's really hard to differentiate one person's switch backside triple cork 1620 from another one. Right. And so, with that, I mean, my personal opinion would be that I would like to see doubles are happening now, no problem. Right. Everyone has doubles. They can throw doubles off the knuckle of a jump. Yeah. If you can do a double that easy, then there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to stall a double and tweak it out. Right. And that's where we're going to start to see weird different, and that's like Peter and like these people that took the tricks that were already being done and just added their flair to it. There's not a lot of personal flair going on. Right. It's math. It's who's gonna do the math in the air and get their landing gear up. Right. So I just want to see a little bit more variety. Yeah. Yeah. And like I was saying, like you go to you're doing the Aaron Style stuff, Sean's contest, and Yuki does a 1620, McMorris does a triple 16, and then Sven Thorgren does a method. Right. And holds that sucker to the bottom of the jump and lets go, and the crowd goes ape shit. Right. Why? Right. And it's because snowboarding in its raw sense, you want to look as beautiful in the air as you possibly can, and looking like you're a fucking flying Cuisinart isn't that rad sometimes. Right. So there's got to be a balance of it, and that's why I think like some of the contests where you're only allowed to do the one hyper technical, and you've got to work your way up to qualifying for the hyper technical by doing the basics really well. Right. Style at Aaron Style. Yeah. So
I think it was actually this year that I think it was Kyle Mack who did. I'm thinking it was a backside double cork, but after the first one, you grabbed Japan and whacked it out, and then kept going, and that was like everyone was tripping. I mean, it might have even been a triple cork. If I don't,
it was gnarly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It could have been a triple cork.
The gnarliest trick that I saw last year was, I forget who it was. It was one of the Norwegian board lords that did it. It's a backside 360 with a full extended method at the end of it. Do you remember who that was?
Maybe like Alec Ostrong or
it was one of
or Stale.
Yeah, it was Stale. Stale, it's that board control where it's a full back 3 and then just snapping and holding into a method. Yeah. And then there was another kid who did basically, it was like almost like a Barrett roll. It was kind of like like not a backside 540, but like a Misty with a method at the end of it. Like that kind of stuff is so creative and taking what we already have, right, and building off of that. And I think that's, in a lot of ways, that's more technical. Yeah.
Well, Haldor just did a.
Oh, I saw that.
Like it's like a back 5, and then he brings it to 360.
It's like a rewind. Yeah, backside 540, rewind to 360. So crazy. And it is crazy, and that's where things just start to get hot and heavy, where the style part comes in, where people don't realize that a backside 540 with a 180 rewind. The consequences are just as gnarly as if you're coming out of a triple, because you're just ready to neck whip on hooking up your edge. So. Yeah.
I mean, we have a few more minutes. There's a few more questions. Real quick, touch on Villagers. What is Villagers?
Villager, a lot of us, a bunch of us, some of us, I had some
few of
friends,
One of us.
some friends, and I got together and we did St. Archer. Actually, I was very lucky to be included in the group that took St. Archer and built that up and then sold it off. And this is Villagers is a new project, and it will be coming in August. And I'm not going to go too in depth, but all I can say is that that sugar caffeinated drinks being marketed to kids through action sports is the wrong message, period. And we're going after that market. Wow.
Okay. That's a good statement.
Because a heart shouldn't explode at 16.
Yes. Is that your
That's our tagline.
That's a tagline.
Don't explode your heart. Drink Villager.
Let's see. And then let's see. Well, we didn't touch on Game of Thrones yet.
Oh my God! Are you into Game of Thrones, Eddie?
You're like, well, I hope we have 5 more hours
because I am in the throne zone right now.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about? Let's talk. Have you seen the last episode? Full spoilers.
Full spoilers.
No, I'm not going to talk about the last episode because I'm not going to shatter anyone's dreams.
Okay.
But all I can say is that myself and there's a few other diehard people in this industry that we nerd out so hard. So hard. It is literally the best thing that has ever happened to television.
Yeah, I agree.
Rapey dragon incest.
Sums it up in 3 words.
Yeah.
Rapey dragon incest. Let's see.
And boobs.
Sorry, just looking through some and boobs. There's a lot of good boobs in that show. Yeah, let's talk about some boobs here.
There was a wiener a couple weeks ago.
It was full screen.
The full screen.
No prep. It was as if like we just zoomed in and it was like, whack.
Hello, uncircumcised penis, full on the screen. That I don't know why they did that because it had no spoilers. I don't know if that's really a spoiler. I'm actually saving you by letting you know that it was the episode before last. There was a shot of a giant wiener. Be ready.
Yeah.
Because it came out of nowhere and it had nothing to do with the story.
Yeah. Nothing at all. I just remember.
Was it a shout out
Saudi,
to our European
my wife?
friends?
She was like, "Man, you guys get to watch this show and see so many amazing boobs." And,
Bam!
And then it's like, wham! This comes out, and then she's like, "Oh!" And she's like, "We get that?" Like she's like, "That what? Like if you're gonna give us one, at least give us like a good one."
Has she ever seen Bruno?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because she can get her fill right there.
Yeah, that's a lot of lofty cocks and Bruno. Well, I mean, we've covered a lot of subject. We covered boobs and cocks and shitting your pants and.
Really, what else is there?
It's just been a wonderful day. Is there anything you want to say to your friends? I mean, we have a few more questions. We might be able to get to these on an extended cut. But otherwise, really thank you guys for tuning in. Anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I'm still a big part of Quicksilver. Working over there. We just picked up Austin Sweeten.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
really excited about that. And Travis's big movie is coming out in the fall, and hopefully we still have a budget.
Yeah. Speaking of Travis, next week we're having Travis.
Oh, Travis Rice is going to be here.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's a big deal. So make sure to tune in next week for that. But Todd Richards, everybody.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you so much. This was Eddie's Wall. And we'll see you guys soon. This full edit will be up on Facebook and on twsnow.com. Take it easy.
Peace out.